Breaking news! Did you know that pro players from the ATP are not using the real racket that they endorse? Okay, I'm just joking. I know that you already knew it, but today we're gonna do a complete guide of every racket that the pros are using. So let's go. As you can see here, I've took a couple of notes about pro players' racket, and so today I'm gonna reveal all their real racket under the paint job. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna reveal the big three racket, so stay until the end. Let's start with the first brand, and we're gonna start with Babolat. And when I did my research, I found a big trend. So the Babolat Pure Aero VS could be the 2016 version, the 2019 version, or the newest one, is really used throughout the pros. And one thing that really shocked me is that sometimes, yes, pros are using some racket like the Pure Aero VS, but this one is usually used in stock form. And so we have Felix Auger-Aliassime, Holger Rune, Carlos Alcaraz, Arthur Fils that are all using the Pure Aero VS. And obviously there's also a lot of people who are using the Pure Aero regular with some added weight. There's Thanasi Kokkinakis who's using the Aero Pro Drive from 2013. There's Van de Zandschulp who's using the Pure Aero Tour from 2019. And so yes, it's a trend. The Babolat Aero is definitely a popular racket throughout pros, but there's not only the Pure Aero in the Babolat world, there's also the Pure Drive who's pretty big, and we have Arthur Cazaux who's using the 2018 model, and we have Taro Daniel, but I can't find the year that he's using, but he's definitely using a Pure Drive. And on the other side we have Cameron Norrie who's alone, or not maybe alone, but one of the only to use the Pure Strike because, you know, team is not there anymore, is using the Pure Control Tour, who's an incredible racket that I should try to try back, because I remember trying this racket when I was younger. It was obviously too heavy, but it was an incredible racket. We're gonna move to Wilson, and there's also a trend, and there's a bigger trend that can divide in smaller trend, and it's the blade trend. And so the Wilson blade is really popular because it offers a lot of control and all that stuff, so it's normal to see a lot of pro players using it. So you have Stefanos Tsitsipas using the 2013 Wilson Blade 18x20. You have Karen Khachanov who's using the 2015 model, and same thing, the 18x20. Same thing for Lorenzo Sonego. And finally we have Hugo Humbert who's using the 2015 model, same thing in a 18x20. So it seems like the Wilson Blade 18x20 is a really popular model. I'm also counting in the blade family the H, so H19 and H22. Those are pro stock model that are now available for you guys in the Wilson Pro, so the Wilson Blade Pro. So you have Pablo Carreño Busta who's using the H22 18x20. You have Sebastian Corda who's using a pretty weird racket for not a long time. It's the H22 18x19, a pretty popular string pattern you're gonna see in the rest of the video. And you have Jari who's using a H19 16x19 string pattern. But the blade, or the H19 or H22, is not the only racket in the Wilson family. There's also the Wilson Pro Staff who's really popular. So for example, we have Kei Nishikori who's using the BLX Tour 95 square inch with a 330 gram unstrung weight, so pretty high specs for a guy that's not hitting hard and that's not really tall, but it's common in the older pro player. We have Dimitrov who's using a really weird setup. It's a RF97 but 18x18 string pattern. I haven't seen this in my life. And we have Roberto Batista Hagut who's using a 6195. So as you can see, those are older players that have been used to play with the pro staff. Finally, we have players that are kind of different. So we have Dominor with his Wilson's Team 99, a pretty powerful racket, and we have Borna Chorich that is using a racket called the P25. It's a 100 square inch head size racket with a 16x19. Let's go to some smaller brand, and then I'm gonna finish with Head and with Yonex, and I'm gonna reveal the top 3 Reels racket. So for Dunlop, there's not a trend actually. I was trying to to see, like, let's say all the pink one are the same, the blue one are the same, but now for Dunlop there's none. So you have Kecmanovic with the SV 300 gram, that is actually 336 gram unstrung weight, so obviously modified weight. We have Jack Draper with an old Revo CV, and we have Alexei Popyrin with the FX 500 Tour that seems to work for him because yeah, he's been playing great lately. With Arkango, we only have Gael Monfils with the TR 960 Control Tour 18x20. But the thing that is really unreal from his racket is using a grip 5, pretty big grip, that's for sure. With Technifiber, we only have Daniil Medvedev on this list, so he's using a Dynacore 95 square inch head size racket, 360 gram unstrung weight with a 18x19 string pattern. Okay, so now let's move to Head. So there's not a real trend in a Head. I feel like it's a lot of pro stock model, but the Gravity seems to be more and more popular. We have Zverev using the Gravity Pro, the original version, 304 the 3 gram unstrung weight with a 18x20 string pattern. We also have Andrei Rublev, but I can't find the static weight of his racket. Then we have Taylor Fritz using a Head Radical MP IG, supposedly in the real spec, 295 gram unstrung. Kind of weird specs, but I know that Taylor Fritz is kind of weird. We have Yannick Sinner using an old Speed Pro from 2016. We have Lorenzo Musetti, who's kind of weird because he switched to the Boom. He was playing with the Extreme, switched to the Boom, but he's actually still playing with the Extreme, just with the Boom color for marketing reason. And then it's all pro stock code, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but yeah, it doesn't really mean anything. So you have Himmel Rusovori playing with a TG 339.2, so it's basically a Speed MP 360 plus from a couple of years. We have Karatsev using a PT 630. So yeah, it's kind of some weird number, but yeah, you get what I mean. Let's go to Yonex, and there's a big trend in Yonex, and it's the V Core line. Could be the SV, could be the newest version, but those two lines are really popular. So we have Nishioka, Tabilo, we have Mahash, who are all using SV racket. Nishioka and Tabilo are using 98, and Mahash is using a 100 square inch head size racket. Chapeau is using the SV, but the 95 square inch head size. And Tommy Paul is using the newest version of the V Core. The other trend is the V Core Pro / Percept. So we have Tiafoe who's using the Dual G 97. We have Echeverry who's using the Percept 97 with the static weight of 350 grams, so pretty heavy. We have Marcos Giron, who recently switched to the Percept 100D, a 18x19 string pattern. And we have Urkac, who's using a V Core Pro 97. And the E-Zone is also quite popular, the DR especially. So we have Ruud, who's using the DR 100, we have Haltmeyer, who's using the DR 98, and we have Shelton, who's using probably the newest edition. So we just arrived to the big moment. I'm gonna reveal the big 3 real racket. So let's start with the more obvious one. Roger Federer is using his new RF line, 320 grams, 98 square inch head size racket. Obviously, he didn't play a real game with it, but it's his new racket. For Novak Djokovic, it's a 95 square inch head size racket with a 18x19 string pattern. So yeah, pretty tough setup. And it's actually called the PT 136, I think. So yeah, and a static weight of 353 grams, so pretty heavy. And Nadal is using the original Aero Pro Drive, 340 gram. It's a 100 square inch head size racket with a 16x19. So that's it for the video. Hope y'all like it. If you want to leave in the comment section down below other pro specs racket, or if I made some mistake, could have happened. I've made a lot of research, but sometimes it's tough to find everything. So yeah, please make sure to comment down below. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.